Hello and welcome to you all. Thank you very much for joining me this afternoon. We're here to talk about your career, actually, your career prospects. I see looking at the chat, we've got lots of final year students, some from Mangalore. I spent a lovely few days in Mangalore in the rain. It rained a lot that day. And I see lots of you are final year students as well. My son has just graduated, so he's with you in your aims and wishes. Okay, my name is Dr. Claire Walsh. I'm the Director of Education at the Institute of Analytics, and this is part of the series of webinars and support we offer on careers. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're here today. This is a problem solution webinar. We have problems at the moment. The world of recruitment has changed rapidly. It's not just you that feels it's unfair. We've seen a lot of changes in a very short period of time. We're going to talk through what those changes are so you understand what the problem is you're trying to solve. And then we'll also talk about, of course, our solutions for this. We won't leave you just with problems. We have plenty of solutions, particularly moving away from a CV and moving towards a portfolio approach to applying for jobs. We have a couple of things on the webinar today. If you have any questions, probably I will look at the questions at the end, if that's okay. So pop them either in the chat, or we also have a Q&A panel that I believe is open, where you're welcome to put some questions there. Just to also advise you that this webinar is being recorded, but to be honest, we won't see your face and we won't see your names. So, so we're okay. And the chat won't be recorded. That will stay off of it. So let's have a think about how do we get a job these days? We find with a lot of people who are particularly those who are graduating or those who are fairly early in their career, that this year in particular, we've seen some changes. Maybe people don't know how to articulate their value. They've noticed that the job market has become increasingly competitive. We get a lot of people who are sending out CV after CV after CV with no response, no positive response. And that's very disheartening. That's an incredibly difficult situation to be in. You will get out of it, I promise. The job search is no, 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 no. And eventually there's a yes, which is what we want. And then sometimes we just have people who have abilities that they have developed, but they don't feel that their job, their CV reflects that or reflects everything that they can do. If it's just a list of your university qualifications and your job experience, maybe there are some things absent on there that make your current employers love you. Your colleagues think you're amazing, but that's not quite coming through. So what has changed? There are three big challenges in 2025. If you are looking for a job at the moment and you feel that the job market is different this year to anything you have experienced previously or to anything your peers, your older brothers, your older sisters experienced when they were looking for work, you're not wrong. We are facing a unique scenario where we have job scams, we have AI embellished CVs everywhere, and we also have the challenge of rising expectations among employers. So it's a very, very difficult time for people to be looking for work and particularly to stand out in the job marketplace. One of the big things at the moment is scam jobs. I'm going to go through all three of these. If you haven't been aware, job scams are the latest one. They're taking over from previous, I'm stuck in Turkey and I have no money, please can you send me some money? That kind of thing. We're wise to it. We know to avoid it. Job scams and job scam applicants are out of control at the moment. In fact, Gartner estimates that next year, 1 in 4 applicants, these are the people you're going up against, will be entirely fake, just generated by, don't exist anywhere in the world. These are the 17 types of job scam you're up against. Oh, look at them all. Now, some of these are not terribly relevant to you. I think the ones in orange, envelope stuffing, shipping schemes, money laundering, mystery shopper. All of these are just plain trying to get you to do things that are illegal, like shipping stolen goods or drugs or something like that. So I don't think those are the kind of scams you would fall for. Perhaps ones that you may fall for might be ones that require you to make equipment purchases. You see a job advertised and it says, oh yes, but you need to buy XYZ to be able to do this. Resale gigs, you purchase this and you sell it on. Or they might say they need to run a credit report on you in order to give you the job. You've got the job, it's yours. We need to run a credit report. And obviously what they're looking for is your data, so they can steal it. The ones where perhaps you're more likely to come across and be persuaded by, the ones in blue, these are ones where you have to buy, they offer to give you information, they offer to sell you secrets to getting a job, secrets to getting a government job, secrets to getting a job you know, in Apple or in Facebook, or they offer you a now this is one that terrifies us, high paying data entry jobs, but you have to purchase a course before you do it. Career consulting, you know, how advice on that, and working from home, all of these are out there in vast numbers. Avoid them, spot them and avoid them if you can. And then, you know, the ones that are really hard, the green ones, these are the ones that I think we should be aware of. Fake jobs, just jobs that do not exist, imposters of companies that you might trust, that are jobs that do not exist. So you're going to have to do some due diligence. They're trying to get your data, they're trying to get your bank details, all sorts of horrible, horrible things. Anything that has an interview via a messaging service, WhatsApp interviews. Some countries that might be normal. You know, in many countries, that's a sign that you're in a scam. Emails that offer you, I get emails all the time at the moment offering me work, pretending to be well-known job recruitment companies. Just so many job scams are out there. And it's not just job scams that you might fall for, it's also scam applicants as well. When we speak to our HR, our human resources contacts, they have no idea what to do, because all of a sudden they are getting so many applications from people that don't exist, particularly in the field of engineering, which a lot of us might work in. These job scams are rife. They've gone through the roof this year. This is this year's thing. And unfortunately, authentic companies haven't had the time to respond to what we do about this. Then we add to the problem that everybody knows you're using ChatGPT on your application. Nobody's questioning that, but unfortunately, so is everybody else. And so this statistic, that 75% of CVs are AI embellished. I mean, bear in mind that's everybody's CV. So if you work in engineering or in digital and data, it's going to be 100%, I would imagine. 80% of hiring managers know, you know, they discard them immediately if they can find them and if they can spot them. So we have to be very careful with how much we use ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever your tool of choice is in embellishing your CV. And again, this is such a hot topic. Here's us a couple of weeks ago. Oh, I haven't got a date on this. We were trending in an article. We were in the top 10 articles on Apple News, giving advice on how to stop your CV getting screened out by bots. So again, it's not just you. This was right at the top of Apple News. People looking for guidance and information on this, and yeah, we were very happy to contribute to that article. Things that you need to understand: the hiring manager is looking for those scam applicants, and they're looking for those applicants who have just been too creative in representing their skills in a positive way. It's really difficult because if you don't use ChatGPT, you're disadvantaged, but if you do use it, you're also a little bit disadvantaged. So many of the companies now, many of the big recruiters have spotted the problem, and they have gone over to using AI checkers. Now, these vary in quality dramatically. I mean, some will only pass Word documents. They won't pass a PDF, for example, or, you know, some of them are very limited and do very little, but not all of them. Some of them are, you know, more sophisticated. And among the more sophisticated solutions, which I would expect larger companies to be working with, they will be able to detect when you've the use of ChatGPT, particularly phrases. You know, if you start talking about cutting edge paradigm shift, delve into our past, in today's world, there are these phrases that these machines just spit out in every single document. You know, we have a list of those now, of ChatGPT-isms. So they may well check. And punctuation is usually a giveaway as well of you using overusing a device. They can spot inconsistencies in your story. They can spot gaps in your time frame, or they can spot when you're claiming responsibilities that do not align to your job title. Your job title sounds a bit dodgy. It doesn't sound like a real job title. They can spot when everything is a bit general. ChatGPT doesn't know who you are, doesn't care. It's not very good at details and personalization. So if the whole thing is a bit general, it will get flagged up and rejected. It can spot inconsistencies in formatting. That's a dead giveaway. If you used a different font where you cut and pasted something from ChatGPT and then the regular bit, it will spot that immediately. Some of the more sophisticated ones can spot exaggeration, unrealistic achievements. They can line up with your age and your work experience and say, well, this does not look like the kind of thing this person would achieve. Fluency, I'm afraid, is a really big one, because most of the fake applications are coming outside of the UK and the USA, and language is often an indication that it's fake if the fluency is not quite there, that it's someone who hasn't actually got the right to do that job. Keyword stuffing, you know what I'm talking about, putting all those keywords from the job everywhere, so that in the hope that it gets picked by an AI parser. You know, you think, oh, if it finds the keywords, it's going to accept me. Nope, that's stuffing. We go against that. And then increasingly, because this is such a problem and people are willing to pay to get rid of this problem, we do actually start having databases now of known AI generated outputs. So you've got a record of what AI has generated, and it can cross-check it. So bear in mind, just getting ChatGPT to run through your CV and create an application for you is not going to get you the job. It's going to get you can probably do 1,000 applications in a short period of time, but bear in mind it may well get spotted and pulled out and be taking things away from the value that perhaps you could bring. And increasingly what we're finding when we speak to employers is that they would like to be shown. Don't just tell. Anyone can tell anything. ChatGPT can create stories and stories and stories. We need a means of showing people what you can do, not just telling them, which I will come on to in a moment. that's where we're going with this. And bear in mind that the data skills you have are valuable. Do not ever worry that the data market has become saturated. It's not quite the same as it was 5 years ago, when only a few people had data skills and getting hired was very easy because there was no competition and massive demand. I agree, we've done a lot to increase supply lately, but still the gap between workers who see the value and those who feel confident is massive. And if you have data and digital skills, there is demand out there, I promise you. Even if it's basic data skills like being able to read a visualization, employers are looking for you. There was a survey last year of 16,000 employers in the US, Europe, and Asia, all recruiting graduates specifically. from any subject, not data and digital or computer science, any subject, and 100% of them wanted digital skills and 99% of them wanted data skills, whatever your subject was. So they are all looking for the skills you bring. Do not ever lose confidence and faith that you have a massive in-demand skill at the moment. And I'm going to say as well, you know, we'll come to this in a minute, but don't think in our field, when you have done your course, when you graduated from your university course, and I've had this conversation with my son, and he wasn't very happy about it. But when you graduate, there is this feeling of, oh, I never have to go back to learn again. That's it. That's not true in our field. This is just taking a general business analyst. And if you have a look, if you decide that you're only going to have Excel skills, you're going to rely on Excel because you're comfortable with that, and that's very nice. Firstly, there's a gap in salary, in starting salary. But then look what happens over the course of a period of time. If you can just add a couple more skills, so you can do Excel and Power BI and SQL, the magic number is 5 to get you your first job and 10 to get you a really good job. Firstly, there's a gap in salary. There's a big gap in salary for starting salaries. Not only do you start in a better place, but 2 years later, you're getting better and better. But after that, your salary starts going up big time. So while you're looking for a job, don't just focus on today and where you are today and what skills you have. And this is especially true if you're one of our data engineers or one of our Python coders. This is especially true of you. We've looked at the CVs of our fellows. They all have a minimum of 10. I mean, they're not that old. They've been promoted very quickly, but they have a minimum of 10 different tools. Quite honestly, they have a lot more. It makes all the difference in salary, opportunities, everything. So you do need to keep learning, and you need to keep providing evidence of that to the employers. If you graduate today and never pick up another textbook, and it takes you 6 months to find a job, and you have not studied in that time, and you have not learned a new skill in that time, you're falling behind. We want to keep you ahead. And we want to show that. So you know, let's not embellish. Let's just do the work, get good, and become valuable. And things like certificates of achievement and things like that really do counteract that problem of CV embellishment. And then finally, the skills that are in demand are not that easy to assess through qualifications. I know this because I used to work in assessment and educational assessment, and I can tell you what the employers are looking for is really hard. I don't think you probably can't see this. I pulled out some job specifications before I came on this call. These are just literally the first 3 I found on LinkedIn. I think I was looking for data analyst, nice technical. Data engineer, nice technical skill. Look at what they're all looking for. Excellent communication skills. Facilitates communication, collaboration across various teams to drive success. Able to collaborate closely with internal stakeholders in client operations. Strong interpersonal skills with the ability to build effective relationships with others. They're all looking for your soft skills as well as your technical skills. All of them. They're not willing to overlook this. And that's kind of hard to evidence through qualifications alone. And it's borne out by, you know, by how many find it difficult to recruit. You can see 92% of people looking to hire data scientists are looking specifically for soft skills. They think it matters a lot, more than just your coding ability. And yet 73% find it impossible to identify those soft skills in the people that apply for jobs. So we need to find a way of evidencing how good we are at those things like collaboration, communication, as well as how good we are at our Python or whatever tool you prefer to use. They're all good. In fact, if you're not, yeah. So let's take a scenario. Here's Sarah, a business analyst. She wants to get a promotion, clearly demonstrating her leadership skills through past success. This is where we need to go. This is where we need to start moving away from CVs, stories that ChatGPT can create, towards evidencing our skills. Our solution is to start collating evidence of what you can do. This is our website. I'm sure lots of you are familiar with it already, ioaglobal.org. If you're not, there's a link at the end of the webinar. I am logged in. I'm actually logged in as someone else, but never mind. We'll pretend I'm another person. If we go to my dashboard, this is taking me now into the membership portal. So if you're not a member with us, I'm afraid you can't see this, but we can talk about the principles behind it anyway. Lots of you I know are actually members already. Now, we've got our learning hubs. This is where we have all our data camp, our data quest, our IOA governance and soft skills training, and all of our other resources that you'll be familiar with. And we also have a new one, the portfolio. So our portfolio, this is the portfolio for Emily Johnson. I've stolen her identity. Our portfolio is a place where you can show and acknowledge your skills. How do I get rid of you? I'm trying to get another screen up. So this is Emily Johnson. If we go, let's just go back to her profile. So here she can give a little brief description of herself. She's a human resources manager within Gensha. She's a senior HR leader. She's got a lot of experience, 15 years in talent management, employee management. She's new to data science and data analytics, but she's been asked to spearhead a shift towards data-informed decision-making within the HR function. We do have quite a few people like this who don't consider themselves analysts, but have to do the job anyway. So here she can write her own description about herself, and you can amend it. And she can also add some core skills that she has. These are the skills that employers would be looking for. Okay, and then that then informs the content of her profile, of her portfolio. So we can see Emily's details appearing up here. Okay, and then where we go with that afterwards, and I've only just started filling this in for Emily. Let's get another. Yeah, gotcha. Let's just go to the analyst competency framework. Now then, a couple of years ago, we launched this in the UK Houses of Parliament, which was very exciting. It's our analyst competency framework. If you're not already familiar with this, these are industry benchmark skills that people are looking for. And what you'll notice about our industry benchmark skills is that, yes, we have all the knowledge, the data, the analytics. We also have the governance, the ethics, the law, the regulations, interpreting results, the communication skills, because as you can see, that's what everybody's looking for in job specifications. And then also leadership. We want to take you from being a rule follower to being somebody who is able to lead, one of our fellows. We would love to have you until you become a fellow. And this is the framework, essentially. This is the digital version of it. We have our affiliates who are no digital skills whatsoever, but want to learn. Welcome. And we've got some descriptions of what they can do technically, and what they can do in terms of governance, and what they can do in terms of communication. We have late affiliates. These are, getting better. Associate is our first membership level that comes with letters after your name. That will always help with job applications, having letters after your name. This is AIOA, and this basically means you can be trusted to do most basic data manipulation, to make decisions with AI, to be responsible. You can be trusted to take sensible decisions and be a decision intelligence leader. Members Our members are more technical. There are ones who are definitely working in data professions, data engineering, data science, you know, all business analysts. And this shows that you are ready and able to take on projects like machine learning and managing to work with large data sets. And then, of course, our senior members tend to be really good at manipulating or working with data, and we have our fellows. So you can see here all of the skills, and these are skills that employers are looking for. And then if we come back to Emily's profile, we can see she has, here's her first statement: can manipulate data in a table or data set. So if I click on it, it opens up a little box, and here I can start describing what she has done. So I manage the reporting on our, okay, now then I could say data set here, or I could actually state the number of rows or something like that about the size. So I think 10,000 row HR data set. Then that gives you an idea of the size, because it's very different working with 400 rows compared to working with 10,000 rows. You can't manually inspect 10,000. And then if you start going up to 2 million, well, you can't even open that in Excel. So, you know, this immediately starts giving you an idea to identify, let's give us something. I don't work in HR, so let's just imagine. Identify opportunities to support staff with training and career advancement. So here we can put what you did. If you're a student, we've got all sorts of things. We had a sprint earlier on in the year. We've got another sprint coming up, which is all around manipulating data and tables. It's about it with our sprint this coming up in autumn will be it will be passing the interview, the practical task part of the job test, you know, where they give you a data set and they ask you to go and do something with it. We'll be practicing that. Okay, so then we've got the accomplishment. Then we say what the relationship that is to the learning objective. So here we might say I created measures and aggregated the data into visualizations that could interrogated. Right, so we've got a description here of what she did, and this is where you flesh out, you know, with better spelling than me, you flesh out what that role was. And then we can also and this is really where it makes a difference, if you've accessed our training. So if you are am I signed in here? Oh, I'm signed in as Emily. That's okay, I can be Emily. So if you are in any of our training environments, so we've got lots of training environments. We've got the whole of Data Camp. We've got the whole of Data Quest. So you can do literally anything from how do I open a spreadsheet in Excel to how do I build a RAG solution using identification models? You know, we've got everything, deep learning, you name it. We've got some wonderful, wonderful options there available to you. And then, of course, we've also got the governance, because we'd like you to behave yourselves. We'd like you to be good boys and girls, and make sure that you're operating within the law and ethically, you know, because that's what companies are also looking for. So if this is a good place to upload any certificates that you have from your training with us. If it's not a skill that has certificates, then we can absolutely go for things like a statement from your employer, or a statement from your supervisor at university, or somebody who can endorse the fact that you have that skill. Maybe you have something online. Maybe this is a good place to link your GitHub project if you have it, or maybe you added some content to YouTube that demonstrates what you've done or demonstrates that skill. Anything you have that will give you some evidence. I am going to find a file Where is it? Here we go. Right, I've got, right, so I've got a data validation course certificate. It's not actually Emily's, I cheated, I put the wrong one up. Okay, so I can add the evidence there, save. Okay, and then this does a couple of things. The first thing is you'll never lose anything. And some of you will, I'm sure, want at some point in your career to pursue formal recognition of your skills. So you may want to go for chartered status, which is again, that helps you stand out in the crowd, having this external validation of your skills. And the good news is if you complete this, they're all aligned to chartered, so you have that portfolio of evidence that you need to be able to apply for that. And you'll never lose it. It's all in one place, and it's kept safe. That's one way of using this. Another way of using this, can you see over here, it's probably a bit small for you, I've got this option to make my portfolio private. I'm going to untick that. I'm going to say no, Emily wants to make it public. Then, oh, sorry, wrong way around. I ticked to make it public. Sorry. Amateurs, can't get them to do the job. So then I can copy the link. And if I come up here, Emily can actually share a public view of this with her future employers. So again, if the future employer, they've got CV, many of which could be fabricated. This is not easy to fabricate. This is not easy. You know, I mean, there is a world perhaps where somebody could do it if they were super duper determined, but scammers don't go for the difficult route. Scammers go for the easy ChatGPT, the CV route. So then, you know, and what the employer can see, this is the employer view now. So they can investigate and see what she said. They can see her statement, they can read it. They won't be able to download your CVs and stuff like that, because that would be a privacy and security risk. But, you know, when in your covering letter, you just tell them all of this has evidence, and you can share it with them. And so this public portfolio is a really great way of you sharing your achievements in your work. What we tend to find is most people have what we would call a jagged profile. So I've only just started doing this one for Emily. Most people have maybe really strong knowledge and analytics skills. So they've gone all the way through their university course. They can do machine learning. They can do all sorts of things that are much, much later in the data and digital curriculum. But perhaps they just haven't got the leadership skills, because why would you have them if you're only at university? You know, how would you get the opportunity to understand how data delivers value to a sector you work in if you haven't started working yet, or a domain as well? You know, increasingly people want not just data scientists, but data scientists who work in healthcare, or data scientists who work in insurance, or, you know, a little bit of sector specific knowledge. So very often we have people who have very full profiles here, less so here. Other way around, sometimes we do have people like Emily, you know, when we fill it in for her, she's already got 15 years of experience and she's in a management role. So she'll be very full profile here, very low profile here. And that's fine. That's the way it is. And it gives the employer a realistic snapshot view of where your strengths are, what makes you unique, what makes you individual, what makes you worth employing. And although we talk about this analyst competency framework being the skills that employers are looking for, how you interpret them, how you express them, all of that will be unique to you. The tools, the individual tools that you've used, no two analysts have identical tools, even our graduates who are coming out with, quite honestly, you know what, I know what our data science graduates are coming out, Python, a little bit of R, some SQL, you know, it's all fairly predictable, but the projects that you've done will make you unique. The problems you've solved will make you unique. And then, of course, if you start adding our training courses, that increases your uniqueness and makes you more employable. So that is our solution, is the profile, is the portfolio and a publicly shareable profile. So here you can, don't just tell people what you can do, you can show them in great detail how great your work is. The other way of using this, of course, as well, you know, I mean, it's about employability, supporting you if you want to really advance in your career over the following years. We're here to support you. We're here to make sure you get to fellow status. I always look at the length of time that most data analysts stay in their jobs, and I think it's something like, it's something hideous still, like it's less than 2 years. At one point, it was 1.6 years was the average time in your job. I think when it's around about 2 years, your employer is not looking after your career if they've only got you for 2 years. You're going to have to look after it. And so another way of using it is to say, I have this skill. What's the next skill that I need? I need to aggregate data for insights. Okay, how do I go and do that? I am here. What's my next leadership skill that I need? I need to identify how data delivers value. I need to independently define a workflow and timescale for a project. So you're setting yourself little goals, skills that you know employers are looking for, and this is where I'm going to go next with my career to make me super duper employable. We're very lucky to work with some amazing fellows who are with Apple, Facebook, Google, Microsoft, all the companies you want to work for. So we know what it takes. We know what you need to do. And we hope to stay with you. So if you are interested, but lots and lots of you I know are already our members. We've got lots of these little guides as well to help you. These are done on Microsoft Sways, so you can have a little look at these. These are actually on our public website as well, so if you're not a member, you can still see them. Some of these got, look, little video. I won't play it too long because I don't think you can hear the video through my headphones. But we got lots of videos and things like that telling you how to use your portfolio and what to do. And particularly this, you know, identifying what you uniquely bring to the job market. Never be embarrassed. You bring amazing skills. How you interpret this will be different. We've got another one here on how to get started. So if you're sitting here thinking, I have no idea what I've done and I have no idea how to begin, we've got a little guide here that will talk you through identifying what amazing things you've done. You have done amazing things, and how to map those to the framework, and just how to articulate those past achievements in a positive way in the language that employers are looking for. And again, it's you, it's not fake, it's not ChatGPT generically using public data and talking generically. It's all about you and what you can do. And I think we have another one, just a few tips. Right, so that's our portfolio. And we hope, particularly if you are, you know, if you're already a member with us, please do get started. If you're not a member with us yet, you can do this. You can do this if you can, you know, on your own. I know we offer these webinars publicly because our role is to ensure that everybody is ready for the data and digital change. There's a QR code here that will take you to where we have our analyst competency framework, and yeah, you can start thinking about whether you have those skills, whether you have the evidence. Training might be a little bit more difficult for you to access. So, you know, I think if you are at this moment really worried and really upset about the experience you've had in job applications, I am so sorry. You are right. You are absolutely right. It's been a terrible time to apply for a job at the moment because of all of the challenges I've talked about. We haven't had time to respond well yet. The changes came and it's really in the last 6 months. So we don't have a super positive response in the hiring world. But I can assure you, I think solutions are coming to help us find it easier to identify you. The way that solutions are coming, they tend to be more, towards this validated experience. I think the CV is gone now, or it's going as a recruitment tool. Its days are numbered. And I don't think anybody has a problem with that. It's moving over to this kind of approach. And I would also say to you, there is no shortage of problems out there in the world that need to be solved. There is no shortage, from climate challenges, which basically need us to rebuild whole cities with a completely new infrastructure that is environmentally friendly, to manufacturing that has to be redesigned again to encompass all of our environmental goals and the new challenges and expectations. Healthcare is revolutionizing. So everywhere you look, there are problems out there that need people like you to solve them. We are just in a difficult moment, a difficult transitionary moment between one world, an old world, and a new world. And it is going to be a little bit harder, but these things that you do can help you to stand out, A, against the scammers and the fraudsters, B, against the guys who are just chat GPTing 100 companies a day in the hope that someone picks it up. And C, it just gives the employer the confidence that you're doing what they need you to do. You're able to show them what you can do. And we would always encourage you not to hit the graduate plateau. Continue your learning. While you're looking for a job, the best thing you can do to give yourself an opportunity is to just take one more course, take one more course, take one more course, whatever that is. Graph SQL. That's my favorite. That's my everyone wins tip. I put that everywhere. Oh, let's go to the platform. Too late. I went to the platform. Yeah. So this is the IOA portfolio. Yeah. And this is our solution to it. And again, it's this idea of just I think we would like somebody else to do this all for us. And I would certainly speak to your careers department if you are a graduate. I think the careers department probably have help for you, and they have direct contacts with employers, and they may be able to help you. But these days, I think we just have to, especially in data and analytics, where jobs can be short, we need to think about, how we're going to go from what are our little career goals. You've been studying, you've been training, you want to get that first job after graduation. May not be perfect. And I can promise you, when I look at our fellows, yes, they're working for Apple and Microsoft and Google now. That is not where they started. They started in much more modest companies. So don't dismiss the modest companies. Get into that job, start showing off. To that first real big success, first time managing a project, little micro steps along the way of your career, your first time hiring someone or firing if it's really unlucky, managing a budget, being headhunted. These are, you're not going to go from 0 to chief data officer. You're going to go through all of these lovely little career steps, and we hope to be there with you for them. Right, I think that's mostly me done talking. Now let's have a little look and see if we've got anything in the chat and the Q&A. Someone's used the Q&A. Double dashes. Yes, somebody said double dashes. I know where you said that. I know where you commented on that. Yeah, the M dash. Yeah, in terms of punctuation in your CV, I don't know if you've ever noticed, there are 2 types of dashes. There's an N dash and an M dash. And the M dash, very, very few humans are trained in using it. ChatGPT uses it everywhere. So be really careful of your dashes. That's really good advice. Thank you very much. Whoever said that. Yeah. Basically, don't just copy and paste. You've got to take it as inspiration, and then rewrite it in your own words. Let me have a look in the chat to see what we've got. We've got lots of lovely people. Please do put any questions you have. Nowadays, most people just add a lot of certificate courses to their CV, and their random platforms. What should be the ideal number of certificates to be put on the CV? That's a really good question. The ideal number of certificates to be put on the CV. You should only be uploading the CV as long the certificate. You should only be uploading the certificate or sharing the certificate as long as it supports a point that you're making. So if you are trying to say that you have leadership skills, then it should support that. So that would be, for example, you won a sprint I mean, I'm thinking of us because it's easy. You won a sprint with us, and that shows leadership qualities. If you want to say that you have you understand governance, so for example, GDPR and California Consumer Protection Act laws, and all of the the AI laws, then then if you're claiming you have those skills, then you share that certificate with them. If you're claiming a technical skill, of course, so particularly for our data engineers, will be uploading certificates to show that they've got those skills. Bear in mind, sometimes certificates show what skill you don't have as well. Like, okay, you could do this part of it, but not the whole thing. Yeah, so I think don't think about certificates, think about skills and how it shows the skills that you have and how those skills are required for this particular job, and only share the certificates or the links to GitHub or anything like that if it is in support of that. If it's your cycling proficiency certificate or your swimming certificate, then don't share it. How can categorizing levels in my portfolio? I assume I completed data analyst, Power BI, this skill. Which level can I publish my portfolio? Yes. So when it comes to, we actually have skills that are tool agnostic in our analyst competency framework. Let me see if I can get it back. And when we say tool agnostic, what this means is, some people will, no, that's not what I want. Where's it gone? Some people will be able to do the skill in Power BI, and other people will be able to do the skill in Python. And you know what? If the person is employing you, they don't care. If they're employing you, they either they're looking for a Python analyst or they're looking for a Power BI analyst, and so it becomes irrelevant what that skill is. Let me take a late stage knowledge. Let's take a member, knowledge and analytics. Yeah, so again, it's not so much tool use. If you look at our analyst competency framework and what people are looking for, it's not the kind of things that you get necessarily, an A grade at your university for. So one thing, for example, is sourcing and acquiring data responsibly. And this is a criteria that you need if you want to apply for chartered. And many university courses don't actually tell you where do you go look for data. When you look for data, what are the licensing terms? Do you know Creative Commons licensing terms? If I say it's BY, what does that mean? You can use it? Does that mean you can use it commercially? What does that mean? So a lot of these skills that employers are looking for are not tool specific. They are employment skills, things that you can use on the job, things that are important for chartered status. When you go for member, you do have to demonstrate competency in programming for that. So, we're very loose with our understanding of programming. R is fine, but something that needs a little bit more. Or that could be your portfolio, your Power BI, if you use the descriptive language behind it all the time. If you use the point and click, then no, it's not. And then we do ask for machine learning for our members. If we look at our associates, we want them to be able to analyze data fluently on data sets that are greater than 2 million. that's probably where you put your Power BI. The point is, it's not the Power BI skill, it's what you did with it. Yes, you learned how to use it. What did you use? What did you use it for? Did you use it to work with tabular data sets that were bigger than 2 million? That's new, that's a different kind of skill to working with, 1,000 rows. Did you use it to manipulate the data depending on the characteristics? Would you be able to say, this was a data set and this is the characteristics of it? It's got this, it's got these problematic variables that I had to turn into booleans, or I had to do one hot encoding on them. All of these things. How did you use it? So in actual fact, your Power BI could come in several different places. And I would say Power BI probably more obviously comes with communication, because often you're producing beautiful visuals. That's the whole point of Power BI, is to create beautiful visualizations, impactful visuals that avoid deception. There we go. Do you know what deception is in visuals? Have you covered that? This is where we try and make people look at the shiny thing here and not here, where we try to be a bit naughty with our visuals. So yes, so stop thinking in university terms. Tool. I can use Power BI, I can use R, I can use scikit-learn and all of these other things. Think about what you're doing with them, how you're using them, and how that makes you employable. That's what employers are looking for. They don't just want to blanketly know you can carry out things with these tools. I hope that helps. Right. We've got a few more questions in the Q&A. After completing certification courses, what should we do next to gain more deep practice and knowledge on the topic? Excellent question. Right, so we've got a few solutions. I know that we have lots of lovely projects that you can work on. Just to give you a practice from beginning to end, we've got them definitely on our data camp site. We've got some amazing projects with just about anything, and you can do them without help, without the hints, without the tips. And the great thing about the data camp content, if you're really, really good at their projects, you go on a kind of a leaderboard, and sometimes actually companies do recruit from that. Now, I need to add a little but. When I say they recruit from that, they do recruit from it, but they tend to say, I want the top 5% performers only, so it's not like you are looking for the job, they're looking for absolutely the best person. So our projects in Data Camp are a really great place to have a little go at just, here's the skill, let me do it in practice. We've got projects in Data Quest, which I think are really nice because you don't get any help except apart from community help. And then that also not only builds up your project knowledge, but it builds up your communication skills as well, working in a team, working collaboratively. So if you get stuck, there is a community there to help you, just as you would in the real world. It's a very realistic experience. So that's a good place to go. If you would like to, find some projects completely separately, there are lots of data sets on Kaggle that you can download, you can have a little play with, you can see what you can do. And if you can do anything really exciting with those, or with, there are lots of open data sets. If you look at your country, I'm sure there's open data available. Just find a data set, play with it, clean it up, check the licensing terms, make sure that you're allowed to use it. And if you are allowed to use it, BY, by the way, licensing term BY means you're fine, you're absolutely fine to use it. Then you can start building you can either you can pop it on your portfolio with us as a project, and you can also put it on GitHub as well. That's also always a good place to put projects to show off. Trish-san, should we learn Tableau or Power BI as a beginner? You choose. You absolutely choose. Again, we are tool agnostic, and a lot of companies are, well, no, that's not true. We are tool agnostic. As long as you show the skill, it doesn't matter which tool you show it in. So if you can create a beautiful visualization with Tableau and you create a beautiful visualization with Python, then it depends what job you're trying to go for afterwards. If you want to go for a job in business, in HR, then Tableau will be fine. Power BI will be fine. If you want to go for a course that's far more engineering focused, then you should probably be trying to do it with Python. So you just have to think about where your ambitions are taking you, where you'd like to go. And you can always change. Don't worry. You know, once you can do it in one tool, it's so much easier to then do it in another tool, and especially languages. You know, if you can do it in R, you can do it in Python. It doesn't take that much effort to change. In terms of what are the differences between Tableau and Power BI, Tableau is purely visualization, beautiful, easy to use. Power BI, I think, is a little bit more of a data tool. So it does expect you to do a bit more manipulation, to think more about the data tables that you're using, to especially use Power Query to clean up that data first. When you import it, you get this Power Query environment where you can clean up the data and start creating new variables and that kind of thing. So a Power BI user is just that little bit more advanced along. You may find as a beginner, Tableau is user-friendly and a good place to start. And then you'll get ready to move on to Power BI. And then you'll be asking us for Python anytime soon after that. Right, I think that's all of the questions. Thank you so much for joining me today. Good luck with your job application process. I hope it goes incredibly well for you. I hope you get the job that starts you on the career of your dreams. Don't focus so much on that first job. It does not have to be perfect. Get a job, get in there. Believe me, as long as you take control of your career and the direction it's going, there will be opportunities again and again and again for you to move forwards and to move into that career that you want and that job that you want. So you know, just go out there, do your best, stand out, give employers what they're looking for. They're desperate to find real people like you. Yep, and we will see. And now then we have, I'm trying to think what webinars we have coming up. And I cannot think. That's not very impressive, is it? We do a lot of things to support you know, the general public, but of course with our members we can do that much more. And if you visit our website, this will take you more or less. Oh, this will take you to our website. There we go. Please do go there if you'd like to find out more about becoming a member, or if you would like to check out what webinars we have coming up in the following month or so. Good luck with your job applications. I hope it goes fantastically well for you all.